okay, all of these tasks have to do with managing my calendar, managing my email, managing my scheduling, managing my life, right? Cool. Then maybe what you need is an executive assistant. That's the scope of work where the most amount of those tasks could be taken up by one person. If all of your ones and your twos are really low leverage, like marketing and sales activities, cool. Maybe you need a marketing VA, right? As far as where do we get to where Renee got, which is an actual list of people that she needs to hire, you're looking at your ones and your twos, you're drawing a scope of work around those tasks, and that's the person you hire first.
Hey, it's Renee. Welcome to the Into the Wild Show, the podcast for women who want to build incredible mental strength to level up their business and lifestyle. I'm Renee Warren, the founder of We Wild Women, author, speaker, award-winning entrepreneur, and your host. Together, we will make you unapologetic about shining your light, growing your business, and turning you into a wildly confident and successful leader. This is for you, the visionary, the go-getter, the entrepreneur, and for those that need a real kick in the butt to get going and to dream bigger. Each week, I bring in leading experts and entrepreneurs to help you take leaps in the right direction, because I know the best advice comes from someone who has successfully done it before. So, are you ready to level up? Welcome to Into the Wild. Hey, you wild women! My next guest has over 4 years of experience as a digital startup COO and operations consultant. She helps founders scale their businesses and scale themselves out of the day-to-day by training their operator to become the second in command. Her mission lies in transforming purpose-based businesses into vehicles for growth and good. In this episode, Jhana and I discuss her core pillars of time management, what she means by EHV, why you need to do a time audit, and she even takes a moment to give me real-time operations advice on how to make a key business decision. Stick to the end as she leaves us with one of the best answers to what it means to be a wild woman. Please welcome the incredible Jhana Li.
Hi, guys. So good to be here.
I have a question for you, because
Yes.
you are an operations expert.
Yes.
And real time, real feedback. How was your process in coming on to be a guest on this show, from intake form to reminders to all that stuff?
Oh my gosh. Like my feedback on your system.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was very streamlined. It was easy for me to go through. And that's what I look for in a good system. Like it's designed for the end user to have the most effective experience possible. And yours definitely did that.
Good. Yes. I get compliments on it. And it's like something I'm very proud of.
So you're wondering, like, is the ops ex going to be the person to pick it apart?
Yeah.
I see.
Like, please give me a good score. Like I'll deal with an 8 out of 10. And it's true, because the thing about having a guest on my show, whether they've pitched me or I've asked them to be on the show, or in our case, a very interesting way in which you become a guest on the show, is like you got to give them the most streamlined experience. And I mean, I've had people that are like, oh my gosh, this was so beautiful. I've been guests on other shows that I'm like, where's the scheduling link? When am I supposed to show up?
Totally.
Where's this in my calendar?
Yep, 100%. And like, not to jump the gun here, Renee, but that is the point of operations, right? Like your team should feel that way about the systems that are created in your business. Wow, it is so easy for me to just show up and do my job. Good operations, that's what they're there for, to help people work faster, more efficiently, more effectively, so they can do what is the highest value thing that they are there to do to drive your business forward.
Amen.
Yes.
Yes. I feel like that's like for any position too. Part of us creating show notes and stuff and captions for the episodes, we started playing around with AI. And it's funny because it's like, it's not there yet. It's like 40%, but you see the opportunity. And what we do now is it still saves us like probably 2 hours a week to use free AI tools to just generate content, of which we add the human element afterwards.
Yes.
But talk about automation. It just, wow, mind-blowing.
It's changing the game. Absolutely.
Yep. Okay. So we met because, well, you're in this space of the same space as my husband's book, which you are reading right now.
I am. I'm enjoying it.
Good. And how did you guys meet?
We were also connected by, so we're 3 degrees of separation in at this point. Cameron Harold, who is a friend and a mentor of mine, connected me with Dan, who connected me with you.
Okay, got it. Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah. So my background is in operations, specifically for digital startups. That's where I got my start in the business world. I was ops manager, then COO for several scale ups. I was a head operations coach for a coaching program that had hundreds of digital businesses in it. And through all of those experiences, I came to understand what operations even was to begin with, how it represents a really unique and essential value add and lever for growth within companies. And 2 years ago at this point, I realized that it was an important enough set of information to get out there, and enough business owners weren't doing it well or doing it right, that it would be really value add for me to bring my knowledge into the space and go out on my own and do that. So that's what I do now. I have operations coaching programs where I coach the second in commands within companies so that they can maximize their own role and their own skill set to help scale that company up, scale the CEO out of the weeds of the business, and ultimately transform that company, the team, and the impact it's having.
Yeah, talk about the epitome of buying back your time.
Totally. Yes.
So I need to know, in that space, what is 1 or 2 of your favorite books? You don't have to say my husband's, but I'm curious. I'm curious.
In the space of, let's just say operations in general, probably my favorite book is the book Multipliers by Liz Wiseman, which is actually a leadership book, but we can talk about why I think leadership falls under operations. And I would say the second one would be, not to plug him too hard, but Cameron Harold did just release a book called The Second in Command. And it is a book talking about what is the role of the operator, which again, not very well understood, not very well utilized. So the fact that somebody has put a book out there to put a definitive statement on here is what we as operators are here to do, I got to respect that and love that all day.
So are you an operator?
No longer. I am now the CEO of my own business, but I work with operators. The whole design behind my business is to work with the operator to leverage them to grow the company.
So what is an operator?
So glad you asked. My definition of operations, and I should say my definition, because the reality is if you ask 10 different business owners, you'll get 10 different answers. If you ask 10 different COOs, you'll get 10 different answers. So my definition, operations is any act required within a business to optimize a company's use of its core resources. Those resources are time, energy, money, and human potential. So every single day, there is a finite amount of time, energy, money, and human potential that you as a CEO get to put to work within your business. The job of an operator is to create the systems, the team, the processes, the meetings, whatever it is, to maximize the ROI of that investment and maximize the growth that the company experiences as a result of the investment of those resources.
Okay. I love it. It's so funny because I have a list of 6 things that I thought about investing in my business. I wonder if my list is here. This is like a bedside table rant at at 10 p.m. This is funny because I think of all of the opportunities. Here's what happens with small business. And I'm going to jump into a really great question after this. Is there's so many places in which you can invest your time and money. And
Totally.
What's hard to decide is what is right now? Because every option could be right.
Yes.
But what is right now from an operations perspective? So hold on to that thought. For instance, I'm hire a social media pro, go on a podcast tour, hire a PR coach, rebrand my company, hire a part-time PR help, and hire a content marketer to grow my email list, guest blogging, blah, 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 blah. So I'm is it just shoot a dart at this list and see where it lands? And that's what I'm going to go with. But operationally, what is the best decision-making process I can use looking at this list?
You know what's amazing, Renee, is that the method that you and I agreed this is going to be the best, highest value topic for us to talk about today is the method I would use to help you prioritize that list.
Woohoo! Okay.
We will answer that question for you by the end of the episode.
I love it because it's real-time coaching. Not only are the listeners going to get advice, but I'm going to have a plan.
Well, we can use your list as an example. This is perfect.
Okay. Well, do you want to answer that now or do you want to come back to that?
I think we can dive right into it.
Let's do it.
All right. So if we go back to the definition there, right? Operations, the job of operations is to optimize time. Time is a scarce resource. We only have so much of it every single day. And you as the CEO of your business, Renee, have the most valuable time out of anybody at your business. What you can do with an hour of your time is more value add, more growth generating than any other role. Would you agree?
100%.
Perfect. Here's the thing. Your time, not only is it the most valuable, it is also an actively appreciating asset. Meaning when your business is small and it's just you and you're a solopreneur, what you can do with an hour of your time is like hop on a call, close another client, get another couple of $1,000 in the bank. Important, value driving. But there's a limit to how much you can do with an hour. Versus when you're at, Dan's size, what he can do with an hour of time, right? He could hop on a stage. He could close 80 people in a room. He could form a strategic partnership that's going to drive millions of dollars into his business. The value of his time is higher. So our time as CEOs, as our companies grow, our time actively appreciates. And the most common mistake that I see CEOs make when it comes to managing their own time is that they fail to recognize that because it kind of sneaks up on us. And so they continue to treat their time as if it was worth the same. When they were small and they were doing all of these low value, low leverage activities, obviously, because your time is not worth very much and you don't have anybody else to do it. But as your company grows, it actually starts costing your business more and more and more to be spending your time on low leverage tasks. And the challenge, the reason CEOs struggle to delegate out those low leverage tasks, to actually bite the bullet and hire somebody, is because in our minds, it's like, not that big a deal. It's frustrating. It's annoying. I might not want to do it, but I can, right? And my big reframe that I would offer you, if that's you, and no judgment if it is, because again, all entrepreneurs find themselves in this spot. The reframe is that it's not annoying. It's expensive. And it is actively getting more expensive. It is costing your business more every single day for you to continue to show up and do the things that are no longer a match for your highest value time. And what I want to share today is a method that I use to actually quantify that so that we have a workflow we can run on ourselves on a regular basis to check in with ourselves and say, how valuable is my time now compared to where it was 90 days from now? And how do I need to reallocate it so that I'm always using my time on my highest value things?
Yes. Tell me.
Cool. All right, here we go.
What's the method? Bring it on.
So I just made it up, a metric that I call effective hourly value, your EHV. Your effective hourly value is the potential value that you could drive into your business with 1 hour of time. Again, as a solopreneur, our EHV is lower than like Dan Martell's EHV. His EHV is insanely high, right? But cool. Our effective hourly value, potential value we can drive into the business. The method that I recommend everybody go through, and Dan talks about this in his book as well, is to do a time audit. So for a week, we are auditing our time. He recommends in 15-minute chunks. I recommend a tool called Timular. It's the only time management and tracking tool I've ever used that I actually use and that actually works for me. And you are just gathering data for a week. Where am I using my time?
I would be so terrified. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
It's scary. You're going to look at that and you're going to be like, what am I doing?
Oh, no, okay. I know. Okay. I just don't want to see it written down.
Totally. And that's why I created the metric, right? Is so that we actually have something, not just to like gut check, am I using my time well? I think we could all say we could use our time better, but to actually give ourselves data that says, here is how I'm using my time. So you, at the end of the week, end up with a big, long backlog list. These are all of the tasks, all of the activities, all of the things that I do every single day to run my business, right? And then the next step in the process is to rank that by EHV. I recommend a 1 through 5. So your highest value activities are your 5s. Maybe right now, if you're a solopreneur, those are sales calls. Those are product development. That is setting a strategic vision for your business. Maybe it's a networking group that you're a part of that you're getting new clients out of, right? These are high value add activities. The 1s and the 2s are the things that need to get done, but we know that that's not the highest value, right? Managing our own email inbox, sending out cold DMs for our marketing, or sending clients invoices, answering FAQ client questions. These things need to happen, but they are low value. So those are your 1s and your 2s. You rank the entire list 5 to 1. And then to your question, Renee, as far as, hey, I've got all these things on my list, what do I do first? My recommendation to you would be, what are the things on that list? And we could run this right now if you want to. What are the things on that list that are the 1s and the 2s? They are taking up the most amount of your time and represent the lowest value add back into your business. Those are the things that we delegate first.
Okay. So, because these are 6 things or people that I need to hire.
I love it.
They're 6 different people. So
Yep.
like social media pro, go on a podcast tour where essentially I hire a competitor to help me do what I do.
Love it. Okay.
Hire a PR coach. This is an actual journalist that would help me do better pitches for my clients.
Okay.
And understand this landscape a little bit better. 4 is a rebrand because it used to be a business coaching business and now I'm not. And so I don't want to confuse the customer. The 5th one is hire part-time PR help. So somebody that's going to help me pitch. And the last one is content marketer to grow my email list, which I already did. So really I have 5 options.
Okay, beautiful. So we've got 5 options.
Yeah.
Of those 5, Renee, which, like these are just like hats. And right now you're wearing all of those hats because you don't have these people on your team. So let me ask you this. Which of those hats are you spending the most amount of time wearing that is driving the least amount of value into your business?
Okay, so not the rebrand, thank you. I'm just going to take that off for now. We're slowly
It just goes in the
working on that,
backlog. Yep.
It goes in the icebox. I don't know. Here's where my heart goes. I'm stuck between hiring a PR coach for many reasons and then hiring a part-time PR person to come help me pitch.
Why are those the 2 top options? And why are you stuck?
Because I'm stuck with the PR coach because they're not cheap, but the PR world has changed a lot as of late. And the rules of the game have changed dramatically, especially in the last couple months when big media outlets are cyclically laying people off.
Okay.
And so now all of a sudden, all these contacts that I had, these journalists at these big media pubs are gone. So I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? So incrementally, my jobs become more difficult.
Is it taking up more and more of your time to do it?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Got it.
It's taking more time. And this coach would help me not only with, essentially it's like buying your way to their Rolodex, which I get, but also helping me craft the pitches and understanding the cadence of all that stuff. But my hesitation is that this one person that I'm considering is in an industry that mostly is exclusive to like beauty brands, and my clients are not necessarily.
That's a solvable problem.
Right. So then the next one is hire part-time PR help. So this is somebody that would actually go in and help me pitch.
Okay. So we have 2 levers that we're working with, right? Time and value add. Which of these people is going to save you and earn you back more of your time?
Oh, the PR help, the part-time help for sure.
Which of these people is going to help you drive the highest amount of value into your business?
At this point, the most value. Oh, I don't know. I feel like I'm stuck on that one. How do I think through that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the question you're really asking, Renee, is like, which of these moves, which of these hires represents the highest leverage for me, right? I can only make one hire. I want to maximize my ROI on that initial hire. The reason I recommend that you look at your time as the deciding factor and where are you spending the most amount of time is that we're operating under the assumption that if you got, let's say, 5 hours a week back, you would be able to reallocate that 5 hours into your 4s and your 5s on your list and drive the next wave of value into your business, right? So if we are optimizing around time, what we're doing is we're taking our low EHV activities. They are low value add to the business. They're eating up the most amount of our time. We delegate those out first. And with all the time we earn back, we put that into our 4s and our 5s. And cyclically, this just means that we are always getting the highest leverage on every new hire that we make. Does that make sense?
Okay. That definitely answered my question then.
Okay, beautiful. Because theoretically, you could bring in your part-time PR person. You could get, let's say, 10 hours back every single week. That's going to boost your company, allow you to grow. And that's going to allow making your PR strategist hire no brainer from a cash flow perspective, because we've now got the value in the bank to do that.
100%. Yeah. Okay.
Amazing.
Wow, you're good.
Thanks for having the list. Like that was a perfect representation of how to do this method, guys. That was fantastic.
To be right here.
And I will
if anybody's listeling who's in PR and wants a job with me part-time to start,
that's right.
Can apply now. Info at wewildwomen.com. I'm hiring a part-time PR person.
I'll say this, Renee, one final piece around this just to help really, really lay it out for listeners right now. If you're staring at a list, guys, you're like, I'm not staring at a list of hats of people I need to hire. I'm staring just at a list of things that I do, right? The answer around who do I hire first, which is what we just helped Renee go through, is looking at your ones and your twos on the list and trying to draw a box around those tasks, trying to draw a scope of work. Okay, all of these tasks have to do with managing my calendar, managing my email, managing my scheduling, managing my life, right? Cool. Then maybe what you need is an executive assistant, right? That's the scope of work where the most amount of those tasks could be taken up by one person. If all of your ones and your twos are really low leverage, like marketing and sales activities, cool. Maybe you need a marketing VA, right? As far as where do we get to where Renee got, which is an actual list of people that she needs to hire, you're looking at your ones and your twos, you're drawing a scope of work around those tasks, and that's the person you hire first.
Okay. It seems so easy. And even looking at this list, I was like, my gut check was on those two things out of the 5. And there was some sort of hesitation about this hiring part-time, which actually brings me to my next question. Why do we avoid creating and optimizing systems and procedures for our business? Like, this really is a matter of creating a system around the need for this person, but I just avoided it. Why do we do this?
It's such a good question. The answer is because in the moment, it is always easier for us to just jump in and do the thing. Right? Even once you have a team, it's always easier for you to jump in and fix the fire, for you to jump in and solve the problem. We know that we know best. We know that we will always get it done right. It is always easier for us to rely on ourselves. The challenge is that that assumption rests upon your time not being valuable. What we're saying is I can drive more value into my business if I just handle this client fire myself, without factoring in the fact that, okay, but the 2 hours that it's going to take for me to hop on a call with my client, de-escalate the situation and save them is 2 hours that I could and should have spent on my 4 and 5 EHV activities that I now cannot do. So even though it is easier, it is costing your business money, which is why having a metric to quantify and measure and assign value to time allows us to logic it a little bit more and say, is it actually helping my business for me to continue to show up and do these things? Or is it costing my business? Because the time I'm incurring to do that can and should be spent on these more valuable things.
Well, if there's one thing Jhana is really driving home for us is the key to delegation. And there is one place that many of us don't consider outsourcing or paying attention to. That's hiring a PR pro. Let me know. Does this sound like you? I'm afraid of getting attention. I don't want people to see me, but I want everyone to buy from me. I know I need to put myself out there, but I can't afford a publicist. I don't know what to do. How do I hire somebody? What does it look like? I can't afford a retainer. Well, I want to share a program that I have that's easily accessible to most female entrepreneurs that will not intimidate you. Instead of committing to a 12-month retainer, which will cost you thousands of dollars each month, and I'm not advocating for this because retainers are important, I offer a program that is retainer-based, but maybe you're just not at the revenue level that allows you for this type of service. So this program that I have is called the VIP Day, very important person day, because that's you. This is a strategy over breakfast and PR ready by dinner method. I craft your custom PR strategy and implementation plan all in a day. That includes custom pitches, a media list, and insider secrets. Yes, I even have professional journalists review and edit my pitches. It's like me giving you the keys to my fancy car without signing a lease. Zoom, zoom. And I have crafted this program specifically for the woman who has a growing business that maybe has a VA or a team member that can help implement the plan. Just as Jhana says, delegation is key to scaling your time. So you get the keys to your custom Ferrari and let your dream team drive you around. Sounds pretty amazing. All you have to do is go to wewildwomen.com/VIP day to find out more and to schedule a call with me. That's wewildwomen.com/VIP day. Okay, so when does your 4 and 5 turn into your 1 and 2? And when do you know that?
Such a good question. I run this exercise on myself every 90 days. Let me use myself as an example for a moment. I am a terrible salesperson, Renee. I'm an operator. Like, I never touched sales for a reason. But as a CEO of my own business, I have to fill the sales role, right? So to start, when I was a very, very small company, Hopping on a call and closing another client, that was a 5 because I needed money and that's how you get money. And so I'm going to show up and I'm going to do it. But I'm bad at it. Like I'm not great at it. And so as I started to grow and accumulate the bandwidth to hire in a team, because it's not in my zone of genius, hopping on another sales call dropped lower on my EHV list faster versus for somebody like Dan or Alex Hermosi or some of these like amazing salespeople, hopping on and closing another sale lies in their zone of genius that is going to stay higher on their list for longer, right? So it's not even just about what drives the most value to my business, but it's also about what am I best at? What am I uniquely talented at? And this is a totally individual question because every CEO has different gifts and different individual talents. Those are going to stay your 4s and your 5s longer. And Alex Hermosi has a sales manager now. He does not do his own sales. So even when it's in your zone of excellence, at some point it no longer represents your highest value, right? Versus him taking that time and reallocating it towards writing a book that is going to reach hundreds of thousands of people and drive God knows how many clients into his door. That is higher value. So because our time is an appreciating asset, because what we can do with it becomes more and more valuable as our business grows, even the things that you're excellent at eventually fall down the list and become your 1s and your 2s, and it's time to delegate them out.
Ooh, that hurts because I know I'm a listener to my own podcast.
Yes.
But there's parts of the stuff that we just love to do.
Totally.
We love to do, but we know while we're doing it, we're like, oh gosh, I shouldn't be doing this. Like there's something I do, admittedly, I love tinkering with my designs in Canva. And I will actually hide my computer from my husband because he knows it's not the best use of my time. So if he's coming by, I'll close the lid or I'll turn the screen so he can't see. What advice do you give somebody who tends to just default back into those things because they love to do it?
Yeah, it's a great question. There is a reason I call it effective hourly value instead of like effective hourly rate or something like that. Because there is a value that is derived from living in your zone of genius. It's an energetic value. It lights you up. It gets you excited. It keeps you wanting to show up tomorrow and fight for this business and grow this business because you're in touch with what you love doing, right? I think maybe the most famous example of this would be like when Elon Musk started, what is it called? The Random Company or something?
Oh, yeah.
Like he started a business to build flamethrowers and do like crazy random engineering stuff because that's what he loves, right? That was his first zone of genius before he was Elon Musk. So he found a way to continue to flex that muscle and live in that zone of genius fractionally, just a little bit, making sure that that is still feeding him and fueling him because energetically it's value add because it keeps him engaged, bought in, and excited to show up and fight another day. So I would say that you're not intrinsically wrong for wanting to continue to tinker with your designs. The question is just, it's going to cost more and more money for you to continue to stay in that role. And so I would just invite you to ask yourself, how can I do this the most effective way possible? What are the components of design tinker that I really love and that I can spend even 10 minutes a day or 10 minutes a week doing just to continue to light me up and fuel my fire? But I'm going to make sure that if I'm tinkering on a design, it is the highest value, most effective design that is going to drive the most amount of growth into my business and offer me the most amount of like energetic ROI, because then it is absolutely still a high EHV thing to do. I will also add, Renee, the reason that I call it EHV is because there are things that are totally not work related that are also incredibly high value. Spending time with your family, spending time with your kids, engaging in your favorite hobby, sleeping, right? Like by the EHV principle, we should just work all the time. Why don't we do that? Because you as a CEO get to decide, how do I balance the value add of taking 14 hours a day of sales calls against the value add to my life of being a mother, being a partner, being a friend. And again, totally individual choice here, guys. There's no wrong answer. But my goal is to give you a metric so that you can quantify and balance and maximize your value add across every pillar of your life and not just work.
I love that because I think about a moment. You made me download this moment of having my son ask me to play a board game with him. And it was like perfect time. And I was like looking at literally the kitchen sink and realizing it was full of dishes and that needed to get done because I needed to cook dinner. I needed the space. Lunches need to be made. And I was like, oh my gosh, what do I decide right now? And if I would have known about this method, it would have helped me out because my default was like, get this kitchen sink cleaned out, get the lunches prepped, make the dinner. And he just sat there and he's like, okay, fine, I'll go and watch TV. And so here I am turning on the digital babysitter so that I can get stuff done when at the end of the day, it really didn't matter.
Yeah.
And for like the 20 minutes it would have taken me to play that board game with him, it didn't matter because the kitchen still got cleaned and the lunches still got made and the dinner still got made. So I love how you can apply that to life and also just the importance of that freedom too. So we think like there was this huge hustle movement for the longest time.
God, yeah.
And now there's like this anti-hustle movement.
Yeah.
People are still just as productive. They're making the same amount of money. And it's fascinating to watch these people now taking hikes in the middle of the day or going on family vacations. These people that were used to be like the go, go, go mentality. Are you seeing this a lot too with the people that you're working with?
Absolutely. And I think that there is still a generation that is like holding on to the hustle and the grind. And this is how I'm going to run my business, right? And I think what's beautiful is that the EHV method gives them a solution as well and offers them an option as well, which is that they get to make their own decision about how valuable having a life outside of work is. How valuable is it to be able to go on dates? How valuable is it to create a family? How valuable is it to travel? That's an individual choice to us all. If they decide that working and grinding 14-hour days is their highest EHV, then more power to them. But they now need to reconcile and actually honestly look in the mirror and ask themselves, is this the most valuable thing to me as a complete person? Because if we're just chasing the money and we're always chasing the money, we know where that story ends, right? And it leaves you with one pillar in your life and everything else is empty and you don't feel like you've driven any value to your life. So it just allows us to balance that and optimize that based off of our own algorithm of what matters to me.
Yeah, and I've said this before on the show. Ed Mylett, who is a coach to millionaires and billionaires, was asked on an episode of, I think, Chris Harder's show, of the percentage of people that Ed believes to be happy of those he coaches. And he said something like only 15%. So if you think that having nice things and going nice places is the benchmark to happiness, it's wrong. It's wrong. And like you think about it, you're sick or you're on your deathbed, you just reflect on those moments you had with people and not things.
Totally. Yeah. But in the moment, it's always easier for us to take another sales call, make a little bit more money, right? Like we're all in that place. We all face those choices.
100%. In those moments of creating capacity, like we say, where do you get your best ideas? When I was running, when I was walking the dog, when I was in the shower. It's those moments of self-reflection where there's no other stimulation and you're quite frankly doing something that might be considered boring.
Yes.
But your brain and your body's actually recovering. So you become a more creative person with better ideas, better operational skills.
Totally.
That's so needed. It's a high EHV.
High EHV. My favorite example of that, I believe it's Sarah Blakely, who did her best thinking on her commute into her office every day. Driving in the car, no radio, I'm just driving, I'm thinking. When COVID happened and the shutdown happened, she couldn't go into work. She would just get in her car and just drive around for like 30 minutes every morning because that is her highest EHV activity, no doubt, right? She's not like making Spanx anymore. She's not creating physical products. Her highest EHV is thinking about the business and making it better, right? So she carved that time in and she protected that time because that was the most productive thing that she could do.
I love that. I think she had a masterclass that I watched, and it was like her commute to work is only a 5-minute drive, but she took the long way so that it would take her 45 minutes to get there. So my husband, I love him. We talk about him a lot because he's got a great book out, Buy Back Your Time. But he always has a podcast going, or when he's in the car, he's always talking to somebody, always. And sometimes we'll drive together, just him and I, rarely without the kids. And I don't often have music playing, or I don't always have a podcast on. It'll just be quiet. And he's like, oh my gosh, like why do you do this? And I go, oh, because I need to think. I need to process. And this is the best way to do it. And he was like, that's weird. And I said, I don't think so. And he started doing it too. Because the thing about it is always having that stimulation doesn't allow you to actually think about things or be creative. And you're so reactive this way too, right? If it wasn't for those moments, the moments for Sarah Blakely, for her to just have that space, she was probably came up with other product ideas or partnership ideas because of that space.
Yes, absolutely. This is where we get into the second core pillar of operations, which is energy, right? Same exact amount of time spent driving in the car, Renee, right? Time has already been optimized as much as it can. But how are you optimizing your energy? Everybody's a little bit different. Some people do their best thinking. For me, it's like I have to hike up to a lake in the mountains with a journal, and that's where I do my best thinking, right? So how do we optimize for our own energy output? When are you most creative during the day? Beautiful. Protect that time. I call it deep think time. Carve it out on your calendar, time block it, and don't let anybody book into it because that is high EHV time optimized for when you are at your most creative, innovative. That's when you're going to do your best thinking, right? When you are love team meetings, right? Like put all of the team meetings back to back to back so you can be in that space and you can show up at your best in that space. That's optimizing for your energy. And if we're talking about, okay, like for me, a great example is sales. Sales drains me, right? It leaves me feeling exhausted. So I'm not able to show up and do other things as well as I could. That also drops it on my EHV faster because I need to optimize and preserve my own energy. So I guarantee the things that are the ones and twos on your list, you guys, are the things that leave you feeling drained, the things that you want to procrastinate, the things that you hate doing, the things that you're bad at, let's be honest. It is higher, it is more ROI positive for you to outsource that faster, even if it's not costing you a lot of time, because it's costing you energy and you only have so much energy to give.
Yeah, I just feel like I now need to do an audit because the one thing I hate doing is invoicing. I hate invoicing. I like receiving the money. I don't like asking for it. But also every Friday I do a mini financial report. It's just what came in, what went out that week. So every week I'm doing this analysis. Most people do it monthly or quarterly. I hate it, but I need it. It's like a temperature check of my business.
Yeah, needs to get done. All of these things need to get done, right? We're not ranking them in matter of importance. They're all important, but are they equally valuable? And are they lighting you up and allowing you to drive more energy and more joy into your business? Or are they draining you? In which case they need to come off the plate faster.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So this is great because I felt like I got coached. You helped me come up with a real person decision about what I'm going to do.
Decisions were made today. I love it.
So what do you call these again? The core values of scaling your time?
The core pillars of operations.
Okay, the core pillars of operations. And remind us what they are again.
Yep. Time, energy, money, human potential. Here's the real good news, Renee, is that at some point, it no longer becomes your highest EHV to optimize your own time and energy. I train my operators in my coaching programs how to run this audit on their CEOs because it's the operator's job to optimize the CEO's time and energy as an asset and resource within the business, as it is their job to optimize everybody else's time and energy, right? We run this analysis on every single role in the business so that everyone's time and energy is being put towards their highest value potential contribution to the company. That's just an efficient company. So it is really the operator's job, their zone of genius, to think about time and energy in these ways, even if they're not aware of it yet. All I'm doing through coaching and training is giving them the skills and the tools to actually apply that within a business. And as a CEO, we have to wear all the hats when we're starting out, right? You are the operator in your own business until you hire one. Cool. Then we're going to figure out how to struggle our way through this and we'll get the best practices and we'll try the time audit and we'll do the thing. But when the value that you receive back by having somebody dedicated in the role who is a genius at this stuff and can do it not just for you, but for the entire company and build the systems and the processes and the SOPs and the meeting agendas and all the things that are going to optimize everybody's time and energy in the business. When the amount of value that's going to be received back to the company by having that person on board, it's time to hire operations and it's time to delegate all of this way of thinking about your business to that person because they are much better thinking through these terms in this lens than you are. You're a visionary. Your job is to go out there and have the next $1 million idea, not think about how do I shave an hour off my time this week.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, we could talk about this forever. I mean, there's other parts of my business. If we want to just go there, you can just coach me for the next 3 hours.
On it. I love it.
Okay, so one last question for you. When I ask you what it means to be a wild woman, what is that to you?
Oh my gosh. You are asking the person for this. I grew up in the mountains outside of Colorado. I didn't ever wear shoes. My mom had to force me to wash my hair. The only time I went to the principal's office was in kindergarten because I wore the same dress every single day, but I didn't wear any underwear and I went upside down on the monkey bars. And the principal was like, you can't do that. Here are some shorts. So when you're asking what it means to be a wild woman, that's me, I guess. And I
no
think
shoes, no underwear,
no
and
shoes,
monkey
no
bars.
no, like brushing hair, doing laundry, none of that. Like, let's just go out and be wild and have fun. And I think that I now wear underwear and I now, wash my hair and I do all the things. But the reality is that the wildness is still there. I've just turned my business into a vehicle that allows me to channel all of that wild energy into a way that impacts and serves others. That's really how I perceive my business. And so I would cheer every wild woman out there. I would invite her to never let go of the wildness. I would just invite her to make sure she's in an environment and she's working on a vehicle that translates that wildness into impact and service in the world.
I think that was one of the most beautiful answers of the 150 odd interviews I've done.
Oh my goodness, amazing.
Yeah, thank you. That was amazing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if people want to go online to find you, where can they go?
Yeah, so my website, guys, spyglassops.com. I would say as far as where I can offer the most value and service to you all would be in my Facebook group, because I drop free trainings in there every single week and it's totally free to join. So if you look up Spyglass Ops on Facebook, you'll find the group, you can join, and you can get more of this type of content on a weekly basis.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely, Renee. Thank you so much for having me. It was really fun.
So there you have it. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Into the Wild. To make this girl happy and to help reach other women who are dreaming of starting their business, please leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and everywhere you listen in. Also, if you want to find me in the wild, check me out on Instagram at Renee_Warren. That's RENEE_WARREN. And leaving you with one of my favorite tips of all time: the best advice you could ever receive is from someone who has successfully done it before you. Until next time, ladies, peace out.